My name's Dr. Orwell. I usually teach classes around here, but today I'm going to give you a debrief on SCP-096. Now we're trying to defeat this mean Mother Hubbard, and we hope that one of you might have some insight. So without further ado, let's do it! SCP-096. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter airtight steel cube at all times. Cubes are my personal favorite shape. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside of SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside the cell. Any and all photos, video, or recordings of SCP-096's likeness are strictly forbidden, without approval from Dr. Black and O5 Black. Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. Subject shows very little muscle mass, with the preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. That's the best kind of malnutrition in my experience. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair. Who's checking that? SCP-096's jaw can open up to 4 times the average norm for a human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It's not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no sign of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside the cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, it'll enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. That's what happens when I see my mother-in-law. Am I right, fellas? Anyway, approximately 1 to 2 minutes after first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds have varied from 35 kilometers an hour to kilometers an hour, and it seems to depend on distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-096-1 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note, this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See Document 96-1. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and SCP-096-1. Whoa! 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including the breach of Foundation security and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of subjects should be considered alpha priority. Dr. Black has also petitioned for the immediate termination of SCP-096, see Interview 96-1. The termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by a small task force that I'm training right now. You're a fun-loving bunch, aren't you? Jesus Christ. Alrighty, well, you've heard enough of my voice, clearly, so here's the audio log from Interview 96-1. Interviewer, Dr. Black. Interviewed, Captain, retired, former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9A. Retrieval Incident 96-1A.
Oh man, it always sucks ass to get initial retrieval duty. You got no idea what that damn thing is capable of, besides what jacked up information the field techies can scrape up. You're lucky if they can even tell you the whole story. They told us to bag and tag. They didn't tell us jack shit about not looking at the damn thing. Could you describe the mission, please? Oh yeah. We had 2 choppers, one with my team and one on backup with Zulu 9B and Dr. B. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our control path. I'm guessing he wasn't facing our direction, else he would have taken us out then and there. Your report says SCP-096 didn't react to the cold. It was negative degrees Celsius. Actually, it was negative. And yeah, it was butt naked and didn't so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal got ready to bag it. That's when Dr. called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. Target must have turned, and my whole squad saw it. That's when SCP-096 entered its agitated emotional state. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I got the willies for a second. That's alright. Yeah, well, I never saw its face. My squad did. They paid for it up the ass. Could you describe it a little more, please? Yeah. It started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring, though. It sounded like a person. Really fucking creepy. We started firing when it picked up Corporal and ripped off its leg. He was screaming for our help. Fucking A. Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target round after round. Didn't do it jack shit. I almost lost it when it started blank him. That's when you ordered the use of an AT-4 HEDT launcher, anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP got loose. I've seen it tear through tanks like tissue paper. Same thing to the target. Was there significant damage to SCP-096? Oh, it didn't even fucking flinch. Kept tearing apart my squad, but with half of its torso gone. Ooh. But it was taking damage? It was, but it wasn't showing it. Must have lost all its organs, all its blood, but didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, though. Just kept tearing my squad apart. So no actual structural damage. How many rounds would you say you fired at SCP-096? Oh, at least 1,000. Our door gunner kept the Gal 19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 fucking seconds. That's 600.5 caliber rounds pumped into the thing. Might as well have been spitting at it. This is when Zulu 9B arrived? Yeah, my squad was gone. Zulu 9B managed to get the bag over its head and it just sat down. We got it into the chopper and out of there. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha or whatever thought I should live. The jackass. We've obtained an artist's depiction of SCP-096's face. Would you like to see it? You know, after hearing that thing screams and the screams of my men, I don't think I want to put a face to what I heard. No. Just no. Alright, I believe we're done here. Thank you, Captain. Let this be on the record that I am formally requesting SCP-096 to be terminated as soon as possible.
Well, wasn't that just a fun little tale? I wonder what the captain's up to these days. Anyway, I hope some of you can put a dent in that bad boy. Good luck!